Hey guys, it's Mike from Dallas Geek. I'm taking over because Brad needs a break from talking too much. Quiet, Brad, nobody cares. Sip your tea. And we are here today with...
I'm Aaron Zook.
Nice to have you with us today. And it looks like we're going to be talking about a series we got, the Thunder and Lightening series. So what's it about? You know, what was the inspiration? All that fun stuff.
Okay, so I'm a father of two boys. My wife and I had two young men when we were overseas.
Okay.
And while we were in Germany, I used to tell them stories as we were going along, riding in the car, because that gave them something to do, because there were no video games back then.
Sure.
So today we now have these books or stories that came from these conversations with the boys.
Okay.
I'm writing a 12-book series.
Wow.
These are the first 3 books of the series.
So you got a little ways to go.
Oh, you bet. And I've got a 4th book coming out in September, so
Okay, awesome.
That's great. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the story. These two boys are kind of like the Hardy Boys.
Okay.
So they're involved in a lot of mystery, action, adventures type things.
Sure.
And in book number 1, they're in Germany. As a matter of fact, their dad's a military intelligence officer.
Okay.
Their mom's a homeschooling mom. And so these boys travel around the world. So these books and the book series will take you around the world.
Cool.
And in book 1 and 2, they're in Germany. And the first book takes place as they're going to the castle of Neuschwanstein on a family vacation. And this family vacation is one that it's just a whim, you know, they wanted to go on a little vacation. They get in a wreck on the Autobahn, which is a major highway in Germany, and they find out somebody's out to get them. They get chased by motorcycles down to the castle. When they get down there, there's some death threats, and finally they get kidnapped.
Huh.
So they have to get away, and of course you know they do, because there's a book 2, right?
Right.
So in book 2, they're in the salt mines because it's another vacation spot, and there's a little trouble in the town where they live in Germany, and because of that, the boys get kidnapped again. But basically it's because a friend leads them astray down in the salt mines in Germany. And you know, the funny thing is there's a salt mine in Texas as well, but down there they use water to dissolve the salt and pull it out. So the boys are down in a very extensive cave network. While they're down there, they get trapped, and they find out that somebody's still after them. It's a human trafficking organization.
Huh.
And the bottom line is they have to go through what's called the Egyptian path of death to get out. Now,
I'm assuming that's probably not an easy path to get through.
Not good. If you've ever been in a pyramid, no. So they're very hard to get through. And as a matter of fact, they are flirting with death in this whole process.
Okay.
Well, finally, they do get through the path, and they find out a human trafficking organization is running all of this. Well, they have to try to take it down, and an Australian friend that they didn't know about meets them, and they'll take care of the problem. So in book number 3, they're in Salzburg, Austria. And Salzburg is the home of Mozart. And Mozart was a tremendous musician. Well, there's a man who thinks he's Mozart, but he's a little crazy, because even though Mozart's been dead 100 years, he thinks he's Mozart. He's an incredibly talented musician, but due to an unfortunate birthmark and a little disfigurement, he's not accepted by the town. And because of that, he gets really mad at the town.
Sure.
He's going to take it out on them. So the boys get involved in that process. Well, there's a castle or a fortress on top of the hill, Hohensalzburg, and this castle becomes his fortress. And he actually is going to rain cannonballs down on the town and take out some of the townspeople in revenge. And he's demanding a ransom so that he can get away.
Now, you said the books start with the boys at age 12 and 14.
Correct.
Right. So it's a young adult setting. And you said that was something specifically that you wanted to focus on, was the young adult demographic. Why is that?
Exactly, because I know that, and I've read research that basically when the boys and girls reach about the 6th grade level, they tend to get into sports, and they tend to actually get into other activities,
Sure.
which are more physical in nature. And so they stop reading as much, they get into videos. Sometimes they watch the TV a lot, and I call that the boob too, because basically you turn your mind off and just watch
Right.
right? So bottom line is I like books because they're creative, and when you read them, you actually generate a lot more energy in your brain, and you create new neural paths, actually, what the research has shown. So your mind is getting stronger as you read the books. And I like to keep the reading going from the young adult age or middle school age all the way through high school into their adult years. Actually, I've had a lot of adults read these books, and they really love them. So one lady left her book on a plane, And she said, I got to order another book because I got to find out how the book ends.
Yeah, that's funny.
So that was great.
So then was the original plan to kind of start with a generation of readers and kind of, because you said it's 12 books.
Yes, you did.
Was to continue with that generation of readers and then the next generation can kind of jump in and continue.
Retired from the military, so I'm a retired full colonel out of the Army. I spent some time in the Air Force and some time in the Army. And all of these places I've actually been to and researched. They're real cities, real towns. I've changed them a little bit to make the books work, but basically I want people to be able to go to these places. If somebody goes to Salzburg, Austria, which is this book right here, this is the streets of Salzburg they would be able to walk through based on this book.
Oh, wow.
And the fortress that's up on top of the town, right there is pictured. That would also be there for them to see too.
So that's an actual fortress?
It is an actual fortress on top of the town. You'll see on the picture in the first book, the Neuschwanstein Castle at the very bottom, and here this is a picture of an old salt mine, or an old mine that could be a picture of the beginning of the salt
But these
mine.
are all the actual real places?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
They're all real places, so people can go see them. They can go around the world. The fourth book's in Okinawa, and I take you through the island of Okinawa and some of the attractions there. So one of the things I've done a blog on for a while is called Travel Options when you go around. What are exciting destinations that you can go to and enjoy? So all these places that if people like to travel or want to have an idea what they're like, this is one way to explore those. And this book right here actually won an award because of the characters in it. As I told you, the guy who's the main antagonist, he's kind of crazy.
Sounds like a little bit crazy. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And now I know you said that we're kind of globe hopping throughout the series. And I think you said the last book is going to end in Hawaii.
In Hawaii, that's right.
Now we have the settings for all the individual books in between, correct?
We do. Yes, I have them all laid out on a spreadsheet.
Okay.
I have a summary of each story, what we're going to do, and I've actually even started writing the 12th book, but I'm not going to complete that until I finish all the other books. And I said, as I said, the fourth book takes place in Okinawa. It should come out in September. My editor has it. She's working on the book cover right now.
Okay.
And so Bold Vision Books is my publisher. And we're looking forward to having that book come out because it's a really great story.
Now, I've noticed that we're kind of over in Europe and we're in the Far East. Are we coming stateside? Or?
Yes, as a matter of fact, book number 5.
Maybe a specific state that
Could be like Texas.
Oh.
Yes, that's right. Actually, it's going to be a great mystery story because there's some things wrong with some of the amusement parks that people go to.
Oh, I never would have guessed that maybe foul play could be.
Oh no! Well, hey, when you have a roller coaster that crashes on you, then you have a problem.
Now you said, this is mainly geared for young adult readers. Now you talked about, I guess, if I remember right, in the first book, in the second book, it's a human trafficking organization.
Yes.
So that's kind of darker subject matter. Was that something that you really kind of had to play with in terms of how do I present this to a younger audience?
I'm glad you brought that up. You know why? Because I'm a Christian author, number one, and number two, I don't get into any real gory details or things that people might not want to touch. I mean, I keep it very even-keeled. I like to read books that are clean and things that are fun and exciting, and that's what I write. So I try to make sure that anybody that touches the books or reads the books wouldn't be offended by what they read. At the same time, I also want to give them some gravity to the situation.
Sure.
As the boys get older, they have to make decisions, and they see some of the bad side of life too.
Sure.
And when I look at the world, you can look at it kind of a black and white way, evil against good. The boys represent the good, and of course there are evil agencies out there that they need to defeat. And I'd like to set up a standard, kind of we need to fight against the evil things in our lives.
Sure.
We need to try to push them out to the side, because if we don't take an active part in that, guess what? We allow it to creep into our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So 12 books, this series is done.
That's right.
Any plans on other series or maybe some other subject matter that you would want to tackle?
Sure, in the back of my mind is science fiction. So
okay.
I'm an avid science fiction reader. I love to watch Star Wars, Star Trek, anything that has to do with being out in space. I think there's a lot out there that we haven't explored, and I'd like to take people out there.
Sounds like maybe you might have an idea or two.
I do.
Something along those lines.
I do have a few things that I want to do.
Okay, very cool. Now, for anybody at home that's watching or on a plane or on the Googles or wherever they watch.
Right.
If they want to pick these guys up, where do they pick them up at?
Well, you can get them, if you want an autographed copy, you can get them at my website. It's zookbooks.org. That's ZOOKBOOKS.org. Or you can go to Bold Vision's website. It's boldvisionbooks.com. Or you can get them on Amazon. Ebooks are on Amazon. Ebooks are on the Bold Vision website. And I'm working on getting the ebooks on my site. And coming in the future sometime will be an audio book.
Okay, that was actually my next question. If you were on or if you had planned.
Yeah, actually, I am working on that. I have to work. My publisher and I are going back and forth on who we should use and how we do that. So,
timetable for that?
I don't have anything, but probably in the next year, the first one will be out.
Very cool. Very cool. So, and anybody that does want to pick them up, all of those links are going to be down in the description below. So make sure that you guys head on over and pick it up. Thank you so much for your time today. Do greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks again for taking the time with us. This was Mike at Dallas Geek. Say bye, Brad.
See ya.
No, say bye, Brad.
Bye.
There we go. Bye, guys.